Hey everybody, just a little job I'm doing. My kitchen opens up into an outhouse, and now winter's kicking in. Of an evening you walk in this kitchen and it is literally like walking into a fridge. So I'm contemplating insulating this whole wall, but for the time being, where the roof fixes, you will see there's quite a few gaps as you look about and round the frames and things. So all I'm going to do for now, just to help cut down on the drafts, is I'm going to use some expanding foam in all these gaps and just cut down on the draft. I'll partly fill in that air brick there. Doors I wouldn't, so at some point I'm thinking maybe just pick up some cheap second-hand doors to replace them wooden doors. So I've used a cheap can of foam spray before, where you just got the tube provided with a can, not using the proper gun. But this time round, being that I've got some small gaps as well as large ones, I bought a proper gun, just £10 at B&Q, which I thought was pretty good. So with these foam, I think the water helps activate it, so whenever you think you're going to be spraying, basically you need to dampen the area beforehand. So quite a few gaps all along this roof. Can feel the draft quite a bit now. So obviously that's not going to make a massive difference, but it's a start to addressing the problem. It's probably one of the main bits where I think I saw some of these outhouse roofs where they have filled the ends up with a bit of water, but unfortunately on mine, some lazy arse couldn't be bothered. So I say this air brick, I'll maybe just fill half of that in. That'll be more than enough breeze coming through there. Right, here's the proper foam gun I bought. Now, say in the past I've used these cans where you just have a big straw attached to it, which they work fine if you've got a big gaps that you're filling in. And the downside to them is you've got no control over how much foam comes out. It's basically an aerosol can, so you press a button and it comes out at the rate that it chooses to come out at, basically. Whereas with a proper gun, it's obviously trigger operated, and you can adjust this screw on the back. Let's alter how far you can pull this button in, but basically as long as you pull it in gently, it will come out slow, and the further you pull it, the higher the rate that it will come out at. So if you've got more detailed stuff you want to do, like round door frames and things like that, then one of those cheapo versions of this wouldn't really work too well, because you would just get it absolutely everywhere. And at Screwfix, these are about £15 upwards. But very occasionally, it's always worth checking all the websites. It doesn't happen very often, but just once in a blue moon, B&Q will be cheaper than Screwfix, rarely, but in this case this was just under £10, £9 something. So as a long-term investment, although it's something you maybe not do very often, for that price I think it's a tool that's worth adding to your collection of tools. And whereas the can that comes, the cheaper version with just a straw on it, is about £7-8. You buy these ones for the gun, I think it was about £4.70. You'll also need a can of cleaner. This is, you attach this to the gun afterwards to clean the foam out of it, so it doesn't all set in the gun and knacker it. So I've got the gun, the foam and the can for under £20, which I think is a good investment. The years that gun will last, as long as you clean it out properly, and that can of cleaner, you're only going to use a very small amount out of that. So then any time you're doing this in the future, under £5 for a can of foam. So I think it's worth getting it. Right, we'll get it all set up and we'll have a go at filling them gaps in. I forgot to say the other things you get with the gun. You get a couple of longish screw tubes, so if you're maybe a bit of an awkward area to get into, you've got to get past some stuff, then, I mean, the gun itself's quite long, but then obviously add that onto the end as well. You can extend how far you can reach, and there's also a couple of small ones with a much finer tip on it. I say that'd be ideal when you're going round door frames and things like that, where it's a much smaller gap. So I say for just under £10, that's got to be worth buying. Okay, there's a gun with the can on it. Now the gun, they've actually done a nice job of balancing this quite nicely with how sort of tall the can is, and there is a bit of weight in it. You'd expect it to be quite uncomfortable to hold, but that is actually balanced nicely. You could hold that for quite some time without it causing you any real issues. I just had a quick go out there, but because I'm right up against the ceiling, the can was hitting the ceiling, so straight away these tubes to extend to get into the tight spaces is immediately going to come into use. You see where I've just done a little bit. Now they do want to try and avoid getting this on your hands and on your clothing. So I have got some rubber gloves on, but all being well, shouldn't really get it on me too much, but you never know. Wobble my way up the ladder. You do immediately see the control you've got with the use of the trigger compared to using the cheapo cans. It's an instant improvement. A bit awkward because I'm so near to the ceiling and how big the can is. Now they say to roughly half fill whatever the size of the hole or the gap is that you're trying to fill, because it will roughly double in size, I reckon. I have used this before, yeah, and you do keep finding yourself topping a little bit more in there, and you end up with some almighty mushrooms sticking out. Dropping it on the floor. This is a bit awkward to film when you're up and down a ladder. Try and point the thing where I want it. I'll just get this bit, lads, because when I get the straw down the back of there, and it's a bit awkward while holding the camera, but I shall get back to you. I'm afraid this is proving to be a little bit tricky to film because of how close I am to the roof and how tall the can is. I keep hitting the bloody roof and knocking my straw off. The straw does come in handy for the awkward areas. And after having used the cheapo one without the gun, I can confirm it is definitely worth spending the £10. Well, where you have this control over the amount that's coming out, as opposed to, imagine that with a straw a good bit thicker than that one, and then it all just blasting out. Definitely much better with this. Okay, a bit awkward film, guys. This is probably going to come out shite, but that's the straw just come off and got me. The other thing that's awkward in a tight spot is I recommend that the can should be held upright, which, say, in this scenario is proven to be tricky. Probably easier for me to go outside. So I'll stop for now, guys. Say it's a little bit awkward. So see how tall the can is, and I'm trying to get in, and I'm hitting the ceiling all the time. So I shall get back to you. We've done away with the straw. I fill up half this. Good to have a little bit of airflow to keep the dampness down, I suppose. This is also the room that you'll see one of my previous videos from I think about 2 years back. My pipe from the outside tap burst because of how cold it got in here. I hadn't insulated it that time round, so that maybe partly down to my own laziness. If I'd got the insulation on it, it might have survived. Plus I did keep thinking I should go out and run that tap just to get the water moving, but again, being lazy I didn't, so probably got myself to blame for that one. Right, so that's half of them filled in. Let's see if I can reach from outside to get them last few. No. Too high to reach out there. I'll just have to reach over and get it in there. But I did notice when I had the can leant over a bit, then the stuff does stop coming out. So keeping it upright is quite essential, which in this particular scenario is a little bit awkward. But not to worry. Alright guys, that's proved a little awkward just because of how awkward it was being so close to the roof. So this can of cleaner, one, you've got a little cap that just pops on and off, so when it comes to cleaning the actual gun out, the gun will screw onto that, the same as it does from the foam can, and you run some cleaner through it to clear the gun out. And you can also pop this little cap on, so it's just like a normal aerosol, and you basically use that now just to be able to clean off the tip of your gun and whatever. So, a bit awkward to do this, guys, so basically it's common sense. Just get it on there, get a bit on there, and then just some tissue basically, and give it a clean off before it has a chance to set. so they're not catching any of this disaster. Obviously guys, it's a bit awkward to film while I'm messing about cleaning and stuff, so this is going to be a crap video, but well, it'll give you a ballpark kind of idea of what it's like to use these things. Let me took the can back off. I think I've probably used about 3/4 of that, so for cleaning I would suggest just get that big blob, but then before it has a chance to set you need to use the cleaner on it. You see that instantly dissolving it. So you really need to get it cleaned before it starts curing, or I don't think it comes off then, or certainly nowhere near as easy as that. So just chipping the tip of your nozzle, make sure you've got that clear, then you know the next time you hook it up to the gun it's going to work no problem. For the gun itself, definitely wear gloves. This stuff is sticky as hell. As soon as it starts curing it's like seriously sticky, so I think it might be a bit of a nightmare to get off your hands. Now, just pull the little cap off. And you know, screw this onto the gun the same as you do when you're putting the foam on. So very straightforward, screw on. Now just run this through till the foam stops coming out. Hang on, I close the valve off. You can see it's running clear now. A little bit still in there. So obviously this is very important to make sure you don't knacker the gun up. That's running perfectly clear now, so happy to disconnect that again now. Camera problems. So again, just a straightforward case of unscrewing. Again, just check inside, make sure you're all looking nice and clean. It's like a little ball bearing in there that must be operated by the trigger. That obviously must trap the compression in the gun. Must be a sealed chamber in there, because I actually squirted out quite a bit after I took the can off. I think I remember I had a quick read of the instructions. It does recommend not leaving the cleaner in there, as it can knacker up seals. Alright, I'll finish giving that a clean off and give you a final review. Right everybody, that's I'm all done for now, so I thought I'd just give you a quick review of what I think of the gun and the foam. Well, the gun, without a shadow of a doubt, that gun is definitely worth spending £10 on. So I've used the cans where you don't use a gun, it's just a DIY job where you just put a straw straight on the top of the can and it's basically just an aerosol can then, so you've basically got virtually no control over the rate at which it comes out. Whereas with that gun you can be extremely precise. You can see on this little bit along the frame, you can get that coming out extremely slowly. You'd have no chance of doing that like that with one of the cans. You would just absolutely blast that all over the place. You'd be trying to do a nice little strip like that and it'd be coming out like that basically. So 100% that gun is worth buying. You've got total control over that. You can be very gentle with the trigger and have it coming out at whatever rate you want it, nice and slow, or you can have it coming out at a high rate. So just run my hands all over on the long gear where there was loads of drafts last night. I just had my hands all along that and I can't feel a single draft coming through it. And the coldest bit was obviously in this cupboard, because you got all that up there open. Not the tidiest looking stuff in the world, but it's something that would normally be hidden behind boards or whatever you happen to use it. Now the good thing about it is it cuts easy once it's set. You can cut it with a sort of a serrated knife. It cuts nicely. It can be sanded and it can be painted. And I say 9 times out of 10 this stuff gets used where it can't really be seen. So if I wanted to, I could tidy that up by chopping it a bit, but it's only a shitty outhouse, so not too fussed about that. But yes, this definitely, you should buy this for £10. So normally it'd be just like using that little cap on there, press a button and it would just chuck it out at whatever rate the can's going to throw it out. Whereas with this thing you can be extremely gentle on this trigger. I've locked it off again. Yeah, you can be very, very precise on this trigger. So the further you open it, the more it will kind of let you pull it back if you do want it to come out at a high rate. So you could leave that fully open really, it's just going to go by how far you pull the trigger, but say you can pull it very gently. And by attaching the spray on there, it has cleaned out perfectly, so that can be tucked away now and no doubt will work perfectly fine. So they do say you can leave the can on for a couple of weeks at a time. So I found out when I took the can off and then pressed the trigger, it actually sprayed for a couple of seconds. You could hear the air coming out. So that must be a kind of a sealed chamber, which is why you're okay to leave it in there and it doesn't go off. So yeah, definitely worth it. And I say in future, if I would need to do any more, I'll probably use for what I've done in there, which I've sprayed quite a bit in some of them gaps. It's obviously gone out of sight. I'd say I'll probably use 2/3 of that can. And I say in future, that can is under £5, whether you buy the one with a straw attached to it, depending on the brand. But yeah, you're talking more like £7.5, £8, and more expensive for the sort of the brand names. So yeah, all in all, nice simple job. The cleaner will last you a good few times. You don't use that much of it when you're cleaning the gun, and again that was under £5. So yeah guys, I recommend you buying that, even if it's one of them tools you're very rarely going to use. It's worth having it. Right, not the best video I've ever done, just really awkward to film, but so just gives you a rough idea. So I'll leave it at that. Bye for now.